How's it going, guys? It's Arrows. Today I'm going to be showing you the top 5 things I wish I knew when I first started playing Dark and Light. Let's start off with a few honorable mentions. If you die in Dark and Light, when you respawn you have none of your stuff, but you do have a certain amount of time to make it back to your body, and you can reclaim all the stuff that is lost. If you don't make it back in time, everything that you had is gone. Secondly, there is 2 different types of servers. There is a PvE and a PvP. The Night servers are PvP servers, whereas the Wormslayer servers are PvE. One thing to note is the ping that's on the side. The higher the ping, the more lag. So when creating a character, try to pick a server that has low ping, so therefore you can avoid the lag. Now, onto the top 5. Let's start with Gathering. The first quest the game gives you is to go out and harvest some bushes. Throughout the game, you start to use magic, and one of the quests tells you to eat some field flowers. The quest gives you 5 field flowers to eat, requires you to eat 3, but it does not tell you how to collect more field flowers. Regardless of how many times you harvest normally using your hands, you will never collect any field flowers. The trick to this is to use a sword. If you use a sword and the strong attack or any attack on a bush that you would normally harvest, it'll grant you field flowers. You can use a strong attack by holding the right click button down, or you can left click and use a normal attack. Use these on any trees and shrubs that are smaller where you would normally harvest, and it will grant you field flowers. Next up is gathering from trees. Your normal thought process would say that you use the axe or the hatchet to gather from a tree. Well, this does work and you gather wood, apples, and twine from trees. There is other methods of gathering. If you punch the tree, for example, it'll grant you apples that you can use to eat to regain your hunger, your thirst, or your stamina if your stamina is running low. On top of that, you can also use a pickaxe. A pickaxe will grant more twine instead of wood, whereas an axe will grant more wood instead of twine. You will still get a little bit of wood from a pickaxe, but you will majorly get twine. You may also use your staff with a draining spell equipped, which will grant you wood, twine, and magic shards, but the downfall of this is it depletes the trees rather quickly, so you will not get as much as if you use an axe or a pickaxe. In third spot, it's gathering from the boulders. As you can see in the video, I'm using an axe to gather from the boulders. An axe will grant you more stone than sulfur, whereas a pickaxe, if you use, will grant you more sulfur than stone. It goes against normal logic where you think on a stone you would use a pickaxe, but in the game, an axe is more efficient than a pickaxe at gathering stone. If you use a pickaxe like I did on this rock, you will gather a significant more sulfur than you do with stone. You may also use your staff, and gathering from stones or boulders with a staff will grant you a significant amount of magic shards, but very little sulfur or stone. And just like with the trees, it depletes them rather quickly, so you must be careful to not overdo it or else you'll have no stone or sulfur and abundance of magic shards. Fourth on the list is leveling, or should I say the most efficient way to level. As you can see on the screen, I start with 110.9 XP. As I turn around to kill this level 32 bramble hopper, he's going to grant me 2.1 XP, which may not seem like a lot. But as you can see, he grants 2.1 XP, and as your grass spoils, you also get a small amount of XP from your straw. So if we kill this level 4 sheep, he's a lot lower level than the bramble hopper. Let's see how much XP he grants. The sheep himself grants me 0.7 XP, which is very little. But there's got to be a better way to level, right? The game always has you crafting stuff and gathering, so maybe crafting's more efficient. I start off with 198, and I figure I'll craft a sword and see how that goes. The sword itself gives me 0.3 XP, which is half, or less than half actually, than what the level 4 sheep did. Well, maybe that's not it, I'll craft a staff instead. The staff only granted me 0.1 XP, which is significantly lower, and same thing with the Ruin of Light, it only grants 0.2 XP. So crafting itself is not very efficient. Even though the game has you constantly crafting items, even big items don't reward that much XP. And given that the starting areas are full of bramble hoppers and plenty of sheep that are running around, it is much more effective to kill the sheep and the bramble hoppers than it is to go out, gather the materials, and then craft the items to get a minimal amount of XP. If you're gathering and crafting to complete a task or to level up your skills, that's totally fine. But as from a leveling perspective, killing mobs is by far the best way to do it. And remember, the higher level the mob, the more experience you get. Now while a 72 sheep may look intimidating, most of the time they'll stand there and let you whack them, or they will run a small distance and let you beat them up. So it's better to kill a bunch of level 4 sheep than it is to go out and craft a whole bunch of items that would take us significantly more time. And last but not least is gathering and harvesting from creatures. This is something that stumped me for a little while, because if you use your search button on the creatures, their inventory has nothing in it. so it makes you think that there's nothing there. Well, when recipes call for fur and meat and hide, you don't know where to get it. So one of the things you can do is use your staff with a depleting rune, and you can harvest the animals this way. But as with the wood and the stone, it depletes the mobs rather quickly, so it's not the most efficient way to do it. Instead, you can use your axe or a mining pick or your sword. If you use the axe, you will mainly get fur, hide, and a little bit of meat. Whereas if you use the mining pick, you can grant yourself more meat, but you'll still get your fur and your hide. If you use your sword itself, you'll grant a significantly more amount of meat, and you'll also get the occasional hide or fur, but you'll majorly get meat. I hope you guys enjoyed my top 5 list of things I wish I knew when I started playing Dark and Light. If you feel there was something that I missed, leave a comment and tell me what it is, or if there's something that didn't make the list that you thought should be there. I have more videos planned, everything from taming to building my first house to other Dark and Light things. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.